Welcome to my podcast, and I'm glad that you're here. Let's dial down and see how many times I hit this microphone while I'm talking. Okay, so today we're going to talk about cycles and breaking cycles, but why we get stuck in cycles. So like emotional abuse, physical abuse, any level of abuse where people from the outside might be like, oh my God, why doesn't she just leave? Why don't they just leave? Why do they put up with that? I'm going to be really brutally honest with you. Unless you have been in the situation of abuse for an extended period of time, it is difficult to understand. It truly is. Your body, it gets like an addiction. It is literally like the equivalent to a drug addiction, but with emotion, cortisol spikes, stress spikes, that kind of thing. To break it down further, whenever you're extremely stressed or you experience high anxiety or you're very like upset or angry or sad, or your body, the chemicals in your body, your emotional response to all of that spikes. Like the actual hormones and the chemical balances in your body spike. Over time, your CNS gets used to that spike, especially again if you are subjecting yourself to something for a long time. It is the same reason why things like CrossFit become addicting, because your CNS spikes, your cortisol spikes. The adrenaline chemicals in your body, they stay on an elevated level and your body becomes addicted to that level. In turn, you become comfortable with it. And I know a lot of people like want to talk about the psyche of it, like the psychic component where it's like, oh, you become conditioned and you become used to it. You simply just know what to expect when you're in it long term. So your body becomes like just comfortable with it, used to it. But there's a chemical component to that. That's why even when people like leave the situation, they want to go back to it, because not only is their mental state like, I don't know what we're doing out here, but when we're in the situation of X, Y, and Z, I know exactly what to expect. The body is also going through withdrawals. Like you will get sick, especially if you've been in an abusive state like for so long. Your body has to detox. Like your body is a machine and you've been feeding it this environment that produces like these chemicals and stuff. So again, just like being addicted to drugs, your body now has to detox. Your central nervous system isn't going to be spiked anymore. And in turn, like all the things that were happening because of that, it's not happening anymore in your body, and your body's wigging the fuck out. And that is very, very important for you to understand. Not only like if you yourself are coming out of a situation, or if somebody that you love is coming out of a situation, when you're looking at it in the terms of like cycles, like generational abuse, generational chains. If you grew up in an abusive environment, you are more likely to end up with an abusive partner that resembles the abusive parent or the situation that you grew up in. Because yes, your body's familiar with that, your mind's familiar with that. That's what you've been conditioned to accept. The chemical makeup of your brain at that point, when you turn into an adult, if you grew up in that as a child, when you become an adult, the chemical makeup of your brain is further going to feed your psyche and believing that it needs that to stabilize. So if you don't detox from that on a hormonal level, as well as like a mental level, it is going to be that much harder when you're older to cut ties. It is so much deeper than realizing that, hey, that this isn't great. So for me personally, not talking bad about my mom at all, because I'll have a whole other session about how adults are just kids in older bodies. And you know, my mom herself grew up in abuse. My dad also grew up in abuse. So when they found each other, they kind of just, it was like two candles morphing together into one, right? My childhood fucking sucked. A lot of people don't know that. Me and my sisters did a really good job of hiding that as we grew up. A lot of things happened that were really unfortunate. And again, not talking bad about my mom. She's a great mom. She had a lot of her shit to figure out on her own. That is what it is. When I got older and was fully able to like, you know, date and like get out in the world or whatever, I ended up with an extremely abusive partner. And he's my ex-husband. I had 2 kids with him. And I mean, we were in fucking high school when we met, and even in high school, he was physically and emotionally abusive. It was awful. And my little ass, 16 years old, I didn't really, like, I kind of like subconsciously knew it was wrong, but also like it was what I was used to. And I was going through so much other shit at that point in time. Didn't really care that there was other choices out there. Like, it was kind of literally the same thing as my mom and dad, just 2 like black flame candles met and morphed and just fucking took off burning together. But after years of that, I kind of started to wake up and I was like, yeah, this isn't great. This isn't cool. You know, I don't want my kids to grow up in what I grew up in. So I started doing what I needed to do to get out of that situation. So, you know, I got away from him, and then fast forward, got into my next relationship. And we were not good together. I'm not going to sit here and say that he is just like a outright abusive individual. He has his own problems that he needs to fix, right? Like, that really have nothing to do with me. But I think I ignited all of those issues that he was carrying around from his childhood, because the insecurity and the accusations and the jealousy and just all of that turned into an abusive state. I mean, we started fighting so bad, and I remember looking at my kids being like, this is exactly what I was trying to get away from with my ex-husband. Like, this is what I was trying to get away from in my childhood. This is not the life that I want my kids to have. And I was really trying to make it work. I was trying to make that relationship like work out, because I didn't want to move the kids. I didn't want to go through all that again. Like, I truly loved this man. And I just didn't want to feel like I failed at that again. But I took a look around me and I was like, no, this is not the safe haven that I myself need and that my kids need, like, more than anything, my kids. So I will literally never forget, I was so drained, like literally losing the will to live. And we were fighting one night and I just screamed as loud as I could. Like, the scream felt like it came from another universe. Like, it was the deepest sound that I have ever made in my life. And everything went white. Like, I honestly thought I died for a second. Everything I saw went white. It was like it just blew up. My existence just fucking blew up right there. And I felt such a chemical reset in my body. Like, I can't explain it. I'll never forget the feeling, but I honestly can't put it into words. Like, the best that I can do is it just felt like a chemical reset. And when I came to, and I looked around me and I looked at the fear in my kids' eyes, and man that I had loved 10 seconds ago, like, now is just this monster standing in front of me. Everything changed. Everything freaking changed. Like, my feelings reset. My brain chemistry felt like it had reset. My reality was just different. I decided, like, that was it. I wasn't gonna try anymore. Like, we were done. We were gonna move out. We were gonna start over. And even with that decision, even with being totally conscious of the state that I was in was not where we needed to be, it was not okay. When we finally moved out, my body had to detox, like physically detox. And it took probably 9 or 10 months of actual, like, sitting with myself, regulating my nervous system. And it wasn't even like a therapy type of thing. It was like physical, like a medical physical type of thing. I had to sit with myself. I had to cry. I had to, like, have sessions where I had to let my emotions out. Like, I had to sit down and have actual sessions where I let my emotions out. And honestly, that's what got me into, like, meditation and that kind of thing, because I had to sit with myself and tell myself, like, you can cry right now, you can scream right now, you can be mad right now, you can break something right now. Like, I had to set intentional time to allow myself to do that, just like somebody that's going through detox has to have, like, intentional time to, like, run things through their body to clean out their system. And it's hard and it's scary and it's terrifying. And a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't know why, like she knows what that's like, or they know what that's like, because it happens to men too, okay? Like, men go through this too. I'm not going to sit here and be like, it's only women. I can talk through my experience as a woman having men be, like, abuse characters in my life, but, like, it happens to men too. You absolutely have to allow yourself to go through that detox, that chemical body detox. And you're going to feel sick and you're going to feel weak, and this might scare you, but honestly, when you realize that your subconscious is up here, right? Your body is a separate entity. Your body is a machine. Whatever your subconscious is feeding your body, that's what your body is used to, right? But again, your body's a machine. So when you're constantly putting something in it and then you take that away, your body's like, what the fuck? So there are some things you have to cut cold turkey, okay? But you also have to meet yourself with grace to understand, I'm feeling this way, I'm having this reaction is normal. I have just totally changed the programming in this machine. I have to learn how to rework this machine, and my machine now has a new instruction manual. There's so much more to just mentally being aware of the situation. You have to mentally be aware that there needs to be a change, but you also have to mentally understand that there's a physical component to it that you are gonna have to deal with, and it doesn't make you weak, it doesn't make you wrong. I think sometimes women confuse the feeling of like, oh, well, my body is doing this, or I'm just so sick, I'm so weak, I'm so whatever. Or they try to hide it all, like, oh, I'm not supposed to be like this because the situation was so bad and now I'm out of it, and like I need to completely 100% do a 180 and feel great. That's not true. That's not the reality of it. And you have to allow yourself to go through all of the different stages to come out on the other side, and you have to allow yourself an outlet. And even if you're not ready, you don't think you're ready, you have to make yourself ready. You have to literally say, I'm done, and make that decision to move forward, and then meet yourself with grace, allow yourself those outlets, allow yourself that intentional time to fully get through it. Because if you don't, if you just leave a situation and you're like, yeah, I'm good, totally good, and you don't take the time, because it takes time, okay? You need to take that time by yourself to reset. If you don't do that, you're gonna go right back into another one, and you're gonna totally ignore all the red flags. You're gonna think that this person's great. You're gonna think that this new thing is great and it's amazing, and it's like your knight in shining armor. And then you're gonna fall right back into the same shit, because your mental state may say, okay, this is good, but that chemical state in your body is feeding for the next thing. It's gonna feed off of all of those little indications, and it's gonna tell you that it's good, because you're fucking addicted to that shit. You're addicted to the chaos. You're addicted to the bad fucking feelings, and your body's gonna snag onto that and be like, this is great. This is exactly what you need, and it's not. So in order to reset your mind, in order to reset your body there, in order to reset like how the machine that you control works, it's gonna be uncomfortable, it's gonna fucking suck. You need to be with yourself in order to go through all of the detoxing, and then the next thing that you like try to step into, if it's good for you, it's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna feel terrible. It's gonna feel awkward. Being alone is gonna be terrifying, but you have to do it. Because whatever that like unnatural feeling is that comes next, that is the opposite of what you are dealing with. And that is what your body needs to now become accustomed to. You have to get used to that like opposing feeling, because it's going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum from what you have been going through. And what you have been going through is the shit that you need to get away from, right? You have to understand that it's more than just like the cognitive state. There's such a chemical thing too. And the chemical side of it, man, when your CNS is spiked, when your cortisol is spiked, when all that shit is like haywire in your body, when everything's off balance, that's gonna show up in a lot of different ways. That's gonna show up in chronic pain. That's gonna show up in autoimmune. That's gonna show up in nausea and sickness all the time. Your kidneys, you could get like infections 24/7. Hair loss, breakouts. When your CNS is spiked like that and it's setting off all these little hormone imbalances and stuff, that's gonna show physically in your body, okay? And not a single person can make you make that change. You have to make that change yourself. You have to deep dive in with yourself. You need to have that like white light flash moment, like, what the hell? Your best friend can't do it, your sister can't do it, your parents can't do it. Like it's up to you to do it. And I'll get more into the chemical makeup of everything like on a different cast. But if you're going through this yourself, you're not alone, okay? And it's real. Everything you're feeling is real. It's not just emotional feelings, it's not just mental feelings, it's physical feelings. There's a chemical explosion of shit happening in your body, and you need to pay attention to it. It's not invisible, it's not in your head, but set intentional time for yourself to experience those feelings, because you have to flush your system. If you are trying to heal and you're not giving yourself an out, you're not going to heal, okay? That shit's just going to go bury itself in different parts of your body. You have to give yourself intentional time to have intentional outlets to heal. Do not forget that. And know if you ever need to reach out, if you ever feel like you're entirely alone, you're not. You can reach out to me. I'm absolutely here to help and support. I've been through it. I've been through some shit. And I have some pretty good shit digging shovels now. And I will absolutely help you dig out of your hole. But until then, I love you and shine bright.